Hello everyone, welcome. My name is MJ Pestridge. Welcome to another P3D video. Today we're going to be talking about the scenery library. We're going to be talking about Orbx products and the correct layering of them in your scenery library with other add-ons as well. I've seen so many people having so many issues with either Orbx global products, their simulator in general with having like nighttime textures appearing during the day, or airports sort of hovering in the air, or buildings hovering in the air, or just scenery problems where it just doesn't look right, you know. And we're going to tackle all of those problems today in this one easy roundup video to help out Orbx a little bit in the massive amount of questions that they get asked on a daily basis about their own products. So if you have any of those issues, this is your one-stop answer to it. Also, I'm going to show you the correct way to use your scenery library. I've seen, through helping people, I've seen so many people just have a complete messed up scenery library, and that's half of their performance issue. So if you're unable to get like FPS in your sim, or you know, stutters galore in your sim, then this could be the reason why. It could be your scenery library is all messed up. So let's get in, let's have a look. Heading to my products in the Orbx central app, you know, you'll have your list of products here: global, regions, cities, airports, and then down here your others and your planes and stuff like that. There is an order as well at which you should be installing these in, and when you do install them, make sure that you are actually putting anything that is a global, anything that is a regional, and anything that is a city. Make sure that it actually sits inside your P3D version 5 folder. Do not, I repeat, do not install it as a library. I'm going to talk a little bit now about what are these two options for anybody who doesn't know. So if I clicked main library, it would be installed as an add-on, like an add-on XML. So it would be a separate package outside of the simulator folder, like in terms of outside of the scenery library, not a part of that scenery library. And it would be treated like a add-on package, as opposed to part of the main base core of the sim. If I was to install it directly into my simulator folder, it would be treated just like a part of the sim core. Now, anything scenery item in terms of, you know, global, you know, your cities and your regions should be installed into your P3D version 5 folder. Don't care what Orbx say or what anybody else says, okay? If you want your simulator to run correctly, install it into your P3D version 5 folder. Now, I can hear people saying, yeah, but I don't have the space to be installing it like that, mate. It's like, I understand that. So, you know, if you've got like a 250 gig C drive and you've put P3D there, you know, you can actually still install these products, okay, into your C drive, right? And then literally, if you have another SSD drive, you could copy the entire folder for Orbx, in Lockheed Martin version 5. You can actually copy this entire folder for Orbx here. Let's have a look at how big mine is, right? But you can copy this out onto another drive if you want to, right? And then use a program called Magic Link Junction. I'm going to put the link to the product down in the description box below. And then you can actually have your entire Orbx folder on a separate drive and then just have it linked in, okay? The sim, Orbx, and your PC will believe that it is actually a part of your simulator folder. It will still think that it's in here, and it will still show all your products in here, but the actual space of where they reside will be somewhere else. Now, I mean, mine's still going. Mine's like 340 gig, and it's still going. That's going to go over a terabyte, I reckon. Yeah, that's the best way to use your sim if you don't have the space for these products to go where they should go, which is in your P3D version 5 folder. The only thing that should ever be put in a main library from Orbx or any other third-party developer is your airports, okay? Your airports and your aircraft. They're the only two things that should ever be put in a library. And I'm going to tell you the reason why now. Okay, so P3D is a layered world. Okay, it is, and we'll open up the sim in a second, and I'll show you what I mean. But everything's got a priority order. Okay, and it starts with a default at the bottom, and it works its way up, and everything is layered. And if the layering isn't correctly, and you can actually set the layering however much you want, but if it isn't done correctly, it's not going to show correctly in the world, and the sim's just not going to perform correctly, so you won't actually be able to achieve a frame rate because the sim's like is confused because it's going, well, this isn't in the right place, and so it's trying to display something, you know, out of sorts, as it were. So now add-ons are completely different. So the libraries, yeah, the add-ons, they actually sit on top of the scenery library. They're not actually a part of your scenery library. In fact, let's close Orbx down, and I'll open up my sim, and I'll show you what I mean. Yeah, 678 gig worth of Orbx products in my P3D folder. So I could literally buy a 1 terabyte drive and then just copy all that stuff out, and I'd have like 678 gig free space, you know. Another thing as well, by the way, if you're installing any products, go to your settings by clicking the gear icon here, and it'll bring up this. Go to update and security, go to Windows security, and go to virus and threat protection. Go to virus and threat protection settings, manage settings, and turn off the real-time protection, which will be on by default. If you're installing anything from Orbx Central, you know, it's a trusted entity. You know, it's not going to be a virus or anything. So you don't need your PC to scan every single file that's being installed into your sim before it gets installed. And if it deems anything inappropriate, it won't actually allow it to be installed, you know. So that can actually cause a problem when you go to install any software from Orbx Central or any third-party developer, and, you know, and Windows 10 goes, actually, you know, this file looks suspicious. I'm not going to allow this one to be installed. Great. Oh, that's it. Just open up Orbx Central, mate. Yeah, thanks. I didn't actually want that opened. Thank you very much. So thanks for spicing me, mate. But yeah, rip Orbx. Like, thanks for ripping my, you know. So yeah, turn off all your antivirus and turn off the real-time scanning, and Windows won't scan every single file that comes in first. It will actually help download a lot quicker, but also it will make sure it has all the files you know, installed. Also, I recommend clicking the verify files button after you've just installed it, because sometimes even from the server, even on a clean download, some files are missed. And so to make sure that you've actually got them all and that it will display correctly, make sure you verify the files right after you've downloaded the product. And then you can, you know, you'll make sure that you've got them all in there. Right, so in P3D here, this is the scenery library, okay? This is what a scenery library really should look like, although these here should be on top of the black marble products. But basically, you know, if we scroll all the way down here, you know, we have all the default stuff at the bottom. And you'll notice that on my add-ons, I don't actually have everything ticked. I only tick what I'm going to use and fly, and so I don't actually activate in the sim all these airports, because the more add-on XML airports that you have installed into your sim, the longer it's going to take to load into your sim. Even if you've got these ticked or not, the more you have, the longer it takes. So I only sort of have a couple of add-on XMLs, you know, at a time in my sim, because obviously I'm going from one airport to another. So here I was doing a flight from LUKK to UUEE, and Europe to Moscow, and then like when I'm not going to use these, I'll take them back out, so they'll no longer sit here. But a couple of new airports will, so the layering system never gets messed up. Anyway, so all your default stuff is at the bottom here. Okay, that's what all these numbers are. Leave everything ticked by that is part of your default sim. You do need everything ticked except for bathymetry. You don't need bathymetry. You won't see any underwater detail, so you can untick that. But everything else, make sure from Randolph down everything is ticked. Okay, obviously we have some grayed out boxes here from Orbx which aren't ticked, and these are those add-on XMLs that they've layered into my library, and because these are like way down here, it doesn't really matter, but when they are active they will show in my sim and look correct. But whilst I'm not flying over those areas, I don't need them loading into my sim, so I don't load them in. So anyway, after that, you should then have your Orbx products, your Orbx base, and obviously, you know, land class, and then of course moving up, you've got your regions and your true earth and all that sort of good stuff there. And then you'll have your add-on XML airports from Orbx, which you can see here, and then moving up you'll have your third-party airports and sceneries. And again, you know, I have mine set out like as if we're traveling around the world. So here all my Australian stuff is here, and the way it should sit is you should have any photoreal scenery or region stuff at the lower bottom part, and then any airports at the upper part here. So this is my entire Australia sort of get up here. You know, I have Australia version 3 for me here with all the different parts of it, and then New Zealand and Tasmania there, and that's everything for Australia right there, you know. And then of course here we've got moving on to like Singapore and sort of the Philippines, and we move around the world just like that. And again, it's always having the terrain files at the bottom and the city files at the top, and then the airports sit on top of that. And that is the same way as we move around the world, and all your third-party stuff needs to be correctly layered, otherwise you're going to see scenery problems. And as you can see, I don't tick everything. I don't have everything showing, you know, or loading into the sim as part of it. And then as we move up here, so this is my third-party stuff here, then it's the night environment, my night lighting basically, which of course sits on top of the airports. Right now, these add-on XMLs, I was talking about them before, they're not actually part of the scenery library. So if you have scenery items like Orbx Global, Land Class, or even Vector, that is a add-on XML, it is going to sit outside of your scenery library and not be a part of all of these scenery items. And it's going to sit on top of your scenery library as an add-on package, because that's what add-ons are. They sit on top of your scenery library. So if you have all your base core sim sitting on top of your scenery library, well, for starters, I mean, Orbx do layer it in correctly, but then the more you install into your scenery library, the more those layers just get messed up. And unless you have a program to help you modify the scenery index, man, your sim is going to lock over time the more you install into it, because the more add-on XMLs you have active in your sim, the more problematic the scenery indexes get when you begin to install more scenery items. It just gets to a big jumbled mess. So again, truly, scenery items should be installed into your scenery library, and then airports and airplanes are the add-on XMLs. And if you run your sim like that, you will never have problems, you know. You will never have issues loading into your sim. Okay, so we'll shut all this down and I'll show you. We'll actually go through an installation. Okay, so we'll load up Orbx. and I'm about to install a Trueworth product, which of course is a scenery item, and we're going to install it into the correct location. Now, if you ever have any issues using your Orbx app or using Orbx products, go to the gear icon in the top right here, and then go to insertion point. Now, this will automatically configure your library. Do you remember where I said about Orbx airports and where they ended? Well, if we scroll down here, the Orbx airports should start at the, it says here, this option defaults to the top of your scenery library. If you have third-party scenery that conflicts with Orbx, you can set this to the lowest third-party scenery entry. So if we go down here, what you should set this at here is, when you look at Randolph AFB, whatever is above it should be what is selected, and that is telling Orbx Central to put your airports and your third-party items from Orbx underneath that point here, inserted below airports and regions. That's where the OpenLC stuff will go, and that's that. Leave this one here by default. Don't touch this one at all, okay? Let this one be, but this one is very important. This one, this one can make or break your sim if it's done incorrectly, so make sure it is done correctly. And then if you have a problem like you just saw me, then we had a problem doing this, if you go to help and then you go to sync simulator, it will actually sort of synchronize based on backup files of your sim, so it will put it back into, you know, a normal working order if you have problems. This is kind of like your backup default. But one thing here, see, this is errored because I didn't run my sim after I installed Trueworth. I'm going to install Trueworth again anyway, so it didn't matter, but that basically errored because I didn't run my sim to rebuild those indexes. If I actually now go into where my add-ons are, one thing to note about this process here of syncing your sim is any airports you have in here, it adds this backup file. Bloody get rid of it. Just delete it. It's honestly, that again will break your sim. It will add this backup file to nearly almost every entry of airport or scenery. It doesn't do everything. As you can see here, these are utilities and it hasn't touched them. But if I here just got to delete those because I don't want actually it to be I don't want it to be behaving like that, to be honest. That's a bit of a no-no for me. And then another location is going to the C drive, go to program data, go to Lockheed Martin, and you'll find another one down here, Orbx backup, delete. We don't want that, get rid of that, because I don't want it interfering with my scenery, because I actually use Black Marble. Now, for anybody who uses Black Marble, make sure that after you've run your Sync Simulator button, make sure that you run your Black Marble control panel. And one thing you need to do, because I know Orbx haven't changed this, is refresh the terrain CFG encoding, because when you sync your simulator, Orbx actually changes that encoding of the file to a different type. And it's something that has changed within Lockheed Martin that Orbx has not actioned or updated yet. And this is like a year old sort of thing. And if you run your sim or you tried to open that file, you would see loads of Chinese writing, and now your simulator is broken because Orbx has changed the encoding type on that file, which they shouldn't have done. They should have left it the way it was. It doesn't need to change, but if it does change, it completely can break your sim if you happen to open that terrain file. So we need to ask Black Marble to fix Orbx's mistake. And this isn't a slight dig on Orbx or anything like that. It's just like they have been told about it, but they refuse to change it. And I think it's just because they don't like Black Marble. I think they're just like they're in a feud with them or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's open up Orbx Central and let's go and install a product. So we go to My Products, and then we scroll down here and we find Great Britain. There we go. I've got the north yet to do. Libraries, just verify those. Go to the north and install, and it goes to the P3D version 5 folder. And then once it installs, again, simply just click verify files, and you'll make sure that you have them all in there then. And once it verifies the files, it will start installing the true Great Britain North. I tend to do one at a time. I don't queue up hundreds here. I just find, or in the past I have found, that there's been problems when I have installed, so I just try and do like one at a time here now. And that's basically it. So I mean, that's basically it. If you have black night textures appearing in your sim or mismatch tiling, all you have to do is come down here. You'll come down here to the object flow and verify those files, and then go to Orbx libraries and verify those files. And to be honest, after every time you install an airport, a global, a region, to be honest, what you want to be doing is verifying the files of both Orbx Object Flow and Orbx Libraries. If you are doing True Earth installations, then you want to be updating the Great Britain libraries. They tend to be doing this automatically anyway, but just as a matter of fact, I like to also do it manually just to make sure it's done then, you know. But if you have any questions about anything I've talked about in this video, please feel free to comment down below. And very soon I'm going to be starting a free giveaway with every video that I do. I'll be giving £25 away of Sim Market vouchers, okay? And there'll be more details in the next video to come. All you have to do is comment down below, and I'll pick one of the comments, and they'll win £25 worth of a gift voucher for Sim Market, which can be used in any simulator. But more on that in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll see everybody in the future. Bye bye.